Welcome back. In today's video, we're diving into some final detailing, and I'll be sharing my top-tier tips from years of playing Cities Skylines. Whether you're a beginner looking to level up or a seasoned city builder searching for fresh inspiration, there's something here for everyone. And if you like to engage, feel free to like, dislike, and comment. If you like this content, feel free to subscribe as well. We'll tackle some key projects, like adding a few essential service buildings. One big challenge? Figuring out if we can squeeze a garbage facility into these hilly terrains. And another important question: where will our loyal, long-living, and much-loved citizens find their final resting place? Oh, and did I mention? We're transforming our town center into a charming, quintessentially British-style hub. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. So sit back, kick your feet up, hands behind your head, and enjoy the ride. Ladies, gentlemen, and even those of you who accidentally clicked the wrong video, welcome. I am Beyond Horizon. If you're just joining us, in the first episode we laid the foundation, a basic road layout, some cozy neighborhoods, and a few starter service buildings. If you want to watch that, there's a link to the playlist in the description. Today, we're stepping it up. We're adding a church and a much-needed garbage solution. Spoiler alert, I hate landfills, so we're going green with a recycling center, because recycling is always the way to go, right? First things first, let's breathe some life into this build with some lush vegetation. And after that, we'll tackle the fun stuff. Here's my best tip for tree placement. Group your trees. Mix them up. Start with a couple of larger ones, 1, 2, maybe 3, and then fill the gaps with smaller trees and bushes. This approach makes everything look more natural and organic. But don't go overboard. Leave some open spaces, that way you can add textures or extra details between the vegetation clusters. The worst thing, in my opinion, is a city covered in plain, flat grass. It's dull and lifeless. Add some variety to your soil and greenery, and your city will come alive. Think of the soil and vegetation as a single, cohesive unit. It'll take your builds to the next level. Our tiny town is already starting to transform. It's incredible how much life and personality a few trees and bushes can bring to a city. I'm using the Anarchy mod, which gives me the freedom to adjust the elevation of props and trees. This opens up some creative possibilities, like repurposing larger trees as overgrowth or even as oversized bushes. For example, I'm using oak trees to create that natural, untamed look. In this build, I'm starting with the bushes to lay a solid foundation, then filling in the space with larger trees for variety. I'm using alders, pines, and hickories for height, and mixing in medium-sized trees like lindens and London planes to round out the composition. Let your city stand out by adding a signature feature. Choose a specific tree or bush to define key areas, like elegant oaks lining your main streets or colorful blossoms surrounding major landmarks. It's a simple touch that gives your city a unique identity and a polished, cohesive look. Now it's time to dive into the fun stuff. As I mentioned earlier, we're on the hunt for the perfect spot to place the recycling center in the hills. Why the hills? It's all about keeping that pollution far away from our residential areas, because no one wants their neighborhoods affected by smog and waste. I think we found a perfect place for a recycling center. Hills, isolated areas, and close to industrial zones are good placements for a facility of this type, but we can't place it too far away from the buildings that trucks are going to visit. A good road connection is essential as well. we're trying to make the road follow the contour lines to make the slope as gentle and natural as possible. By aligning the road with the terrain, we avoid steep inclines that can look unrealistic and create practical issues for traffic flow. This approach not only improves the visual appeal of your build, but also adds a layer of realism, especially in hilly areas. Following contour lines ensures that roads feel integrated with the landscape rather than forcing the terrain to adapt unnaturally to the road. Plus, it opens up opportunities for interesting roadside details, like retaining walls, terraced vegetation, or small rest areas, enhancing the overall look and functionality of your city. And the reason we picked exactly the spot we did is that it's going to be close to our next city as well, so garbage is taken care of before we start building our next city. Every city tells a story, and when our citizens take their final breath, they deserve a peaceful resting place that honors their journey. I've chosen the perfect spot. It's a bit tight in our town center, but we've made it work. If this were a cathedral, it would demand the spotlight downtown, but our humble church finds its home nestled between the supermarket and the suburbs, a small yet significant part of the community. Let's close this space up with some trees to make it look a little bit better. Speaking of suburbs, that's our next big task. Picture this: cozy homes close to the railways, yet shielded by a natural barrier of trees and a sturdy fence. It's the perfect balance of connection and tranquility. While our construction company get to work, we'll add some trees and bushes to breathe life into the area. Honestly, I'm thrilled with how it's shaping up. Later, we'll add textures and decals to elevate the look even more. Little details like these bring the ground to life, blending sharp hills with natural finishes. The gravel surfaces I'm using are semi-transparent, giving a beautifully organic touch that I've used in previous builds. Let's give the surfaces in our hills a little love. They desperately need it. When we're covering the surfaces like this, we can actually change the shape of the vanilla hills. We decide what's going to be a rocky surface or not. I'm going to finish this up and then we move on to the park. With the hills polished, we're moving on to detail the park, a simple yet charming space with paths, trees, and textures. And about those textures I mentioned for our new suburb, I'll be using riverbeds created by Sully, an incredible asset creator in the city Skylines community. If you haven't checked out Sully's work yet, you're missing out. His contributions are a game changer. These riverbeds aren't just for hills, they're versatile enough for lower terrains near the town center too. They pair perfectly with grass and gravel textures, offering endless possibilities for creative builders. Now, the moment we've been waiting for, transforming the town center. As I mentioned in the last video, the commercial buildings here don't quite fit our UK-inspired theme. They work elsewhere, but not here. And this transformation is all about creating that authentic British vibe. And I'm focused on getting every detail right. Okay, we need to do some preparations along the main road. We need to get rid of some buildings. When designing along the main road, I think about how it would feel to walk or drive through. The buildings near the road need to have some height and sit close to the curb for that traditional UK charm. Matching building colors can make them feel unified as a single structure, but mismatched colors can add character, and it's all about finding the right balance for the story we're telling. creating a city that feels real isn't just about placing buildings, it's about making them belong. Right now, I'm working to make these buildings fit perfectly into the area we've got here. It's not easy, but hey, nothing worth building ever is. Luckily, Move It is here to save the day again. Those subtle elevation differences, they're a challenge to get just right, but let's be real, what's perfect in the real world anyway? Imperfections are what make cities beautiful and full of character. That's the vibe we're aiming for, and with a bit of patience, we'll get there. I'm pretty happy with how this section turned out. It's got just enough space left to breathe, adding a sense of balance to the area. Sometimes, stripping away some default props from a building can actually make it feel more authentic, and when we add back our own custom props, it's when it really comes to life. Now I'm working on the surfaces in front of these buildings. It's trial and error, and maybe I haven't found the perfect look yet, but who knows? Maybe inspiration will strike like a falling rock and the vision will finally click. That's the beauty of this process. It's all about experimenting, adjusting, and seeing the city evolve right before our eyes. Look at that. Corners are especially tricky on hilly terrain, but a bit of custom work makes all the difference. Sometimes that means rethinking the layout, like moving a road to create more space for the perfect block. It's not always about sticking to the plan, it's about adapting to make the final result shine. What to raid? Well, we'll fix it. This area is going to look pretty nice when we're done. Again, move it to the rescue. Let me work a little magic here to make this area not just functional, but truly beautiful and realistic. I'm using some incredible props created by Jay, a talented asset creator whose work you might recognize from Sully's iconic Venice Beach build. These little details bring so much life and authenticity to the space. It's like giving the area its own personality. What do you think? Doesn't that look realistic? Personally, I'm really happy with how it's turning out. We've got just one more door to perfect and a bit of terrain to tidy up, but every small tweak brings us closer to a space that feels alive and part of the story we're building. Alright folks, the Extreme Makeover Town Center Edition isn't over just yet. There's still work to be done to bring this area to life. My original plan was to squeeze another building into this spot, but I had a change of heart. Instead, we're adding a couple of parks to bring some open green space to the center of town. Of course, they'll need a touch of detailing to really shine. Oh, the parking lot! What parking lot? Oh, that parking lot. Don't worry, we'll tackle that eyesore in the next episode. Thanks for pointing it out. Now, back to business. These generic commercial buildings, they're just not cutting it. We're replacing them with some proper UK-style buildings that will fit this theme perfectly. With the help of Move It and Anarchy, we're bringing these structures together into a seamless unit. And let me tell you, the street view is already looking incredible. Now, about these two pubs, the Heath. Having nearly identical buildings so close together just doesn't sit right. We're removing one and reworking half of this block for a fresh, cohesive look. Sometimes it's all about making tough choices to achieve the perfect result. We're moving one of these buildings to the next corner of the block, and trust me, this decision will make the final layout so much better. Using the Better Bulldozer mod, we're also clearing out some unnecessary props to free up space. This spot will house another building and a charming pathway, adding even more character to the town center. Every tweak gets us closer to a town center that feels uniquely British and beautifully detailed. Stick around. This transformation is shaping up to be something I'm proud of. Covering the ground around buildings is one of the most essential steps to making a city look realistic. It's what turns a build from good to incredible. While Cities Skylines 2 has its quirks and bugs, Colossal Order has done an impressive job laying the foundation for something amazing. Sure, they launched too soon, but the potential here is undeniable. Let's fine-tune this build. I'm sliding these two buildings back just a smidge to carve out space for some textures in front of them. If only we could customize a sidewalk textures without a mod, it would be a game changer. But for now, we'll work with what we've got and still make it shine. There's room for one more building here, and once it's in place, today's transformation will be complete. If you're enjoying the journey so far and want to see more of these videos, make sure to subscribe. Your feedback means everything. Whether it's praise or constructive criticism, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this build. Drop a like or even a dislike if you must, and leave a comment below. Until next time, take care of yourself and everyone you love.